This is Justin with MP First, and today I'm going to be talking about A Plague Tale: Innocence. Now, when it comes to narrative-driven games, I'm a pretty big fan of those, but sometimes I feel like we have two different kinds. Ones that sort of are an extremely narrative-driven, character-guided interaction of sorts, where story is key and there's very little room for even failing. Then there are other games like Uncharted or The Order 1886 that kind of have this really cinematic production value, but core gameplay elements like stealth or action or platforming. But I think I've finally found a game that kind of combines both of them perfectly. A Plague Tale: Innocence is a game that not only captivated me right from the start, but I couldn't put it down. Now, the story starts out here with players assuming the role of Amicia, a young girl of noble blood who's out on the hunt with her estranged father. And here we get a simple glimpse of who she is and her family. But during these opening moments, players are actually going to suspect there might be more skeletons in this family's closet, and, well, with the plot itself. Now, she actually doesn't know her parents very well, especially her mother and brother, who has unfortunately been sick most of his young life. But soon after arriving back home, a religious inquisition arrives and the household comes under attack. And with chaos, death, and panic setting in, it just doesn't look too good for the siblings. Soon enough, Amicia and Hugo are on the run, with a story that is much darker than I ever expected. Now, if you're wondering what kind of gameplay is here, of course I said it's narrative driven, but we do get a lot of interesting elements of some basic combat, stealth, puzzles, and even set pieces. Now, while the brother and sister duo are mostly inseparable throughout this adventure, there are times where things will change up, variation in gameplay, and, well, let's not spoil too many of the surprises here, but let's just say I really loved seeing their tandem growing relationship and how it turned out and how the story got even more emotional the further I got in. I will say, after I finished my experience, it took me about 10 to 12 hours, I really had a hard time finding anything wrong with this game whatsoever. Now, I will say that I do think some of the checkpoints could do a little improving instead of having you go back as far, and that tied in with some trial and error moments could prove to be a little frustrating for some people, but ultimately, it was a rare occurrence for me, and otherwise, I was completely happy with what we got. Overall scoring, a 9.0 out of 10. For the full in-depth review, please head on over to mpfirst.com for more gaming coverage.